king, I am not a god, I am Helminth.
What's good, YouTube, and welcome to Tano. In today's video, I will show you how to build Citrine for level 0 to 9,999 steel path enemies in Warframe, or known as level Kappa. But first, let me show you what this Warframe is capable of. Let's go. Welcome back, Tano. I hope you enjoyed the speedrun. As always, before I build a weapon or Warframe, I rely on my method called DVS. D, how I'll be dealing damage. V, how I'll be proccing 10 stacks of viral, so enemies are vulnerable by 325% damage in their HP. And S stands for stripping enemies armor. Lowering their armor means I'll lower their damage reduction, means I'll be dealing more damage. And now you need to learn about shield gating. To understand that, you need to understand shield gate. Now, in Warframe, not like any other game, when you receive a fatal blow, you don't die. You lose just your shield, screen will glitch, and then you become invulnerable in a gate phase. Invulnerable means you'll be a god mode. You don't die at all. For a certain duration, of course. That duration is affected by how much shields you have. For example, it's capped right now at 1150 shields, equal to 2.5 seconds. Except Hildrin can go for 3.5 seconds, but that's his passive. Now, the idea of shield gating is returning your shields, and you reach the gate, you return your shields every time you reach the gate. You don't let the enemies reach your HP. Simple as that. That's shield gating. Now, as always, we take beginner's friendly approach, explaining Citrine for Thanos that trying to learn about Citrine or learn a tip or trick here and there. Passive. Citrine grants nearby allies 5 health regeneration per second. Pick up health orbs to increase regeneration by 0.1 up to maximum of 25. Very bad passive, and I hope the E one day fixes that to a better version, maybe at the prime ones, which they don't do. Now, Fracture Blast. Slash and stagger enemies with a Crystal Blast that inflicts slash, which is nice. Enemies inflicted with this statue effect have an increased chance of dropping health and energy orbs. Makes it an amazing candidate for Equilibrium, so you can always have the energy tank full. Now, health orb 50%, energy orb 20% chance, and it's affected by ability strength. If you pass 100, you will have that extra as a extra drop chance. Now, it doesn't have an augment. Preserving shell. Citrine guards herself and nearby allies with crystalline shell that gradually decay. Kills and assists increase the defensive power of the shell. Maximum is 90%, but the problem with this ability, it decays. I hope one day the E rework this ability so it's just like stays there as a damage reduction. And doesn't matter how much damage reduction you have in the game, even you reach, I don't know, 1.2 million EHP, you will still die at level cap as enemies hits more than 1 million damage per hit or whatever. Alright. Prismic Gem, deploy gem that shoots a prismic beam. That gem targets enemies that are taking weapon damage from Citrine and her allies. Its beam inflicts heat, cold, toxin, and electricity statue effect, and statue chance and statue duration increase for nearby allies. The statue duration and statue chance is affected by ability strength, and the damage you deal for toxin, electricity, cold, and heat is affected by ability strength as well. And actually, Citrine have a very nice range in all her abilities actually. Now, Crystallize. Citrine summons crystal fractal that fractals rush forward, seeking enemies. Enemies touched by the fractal are paralyzed by crystalline growth. Heat the growth, the one that coming out from their body to deal critical damage. Also drains a lot of energy, to be honest, 100 energy, range 30 meter, which is perfect. Deals impact damage, duration 8 seconds, and critical chance 300%. And here you go. Enemies killed by crystalline growth, stagger and spread the crystals to enemies within 16 meters. Makes her a very, very nice CC augment right here. Now, when it comes to Citrine Helminth changes and what ability you want to replace. Now, the ability you want to replace for Helminth ability is a Preserving Shell. Now, if you want a better version of damage reduction, so you can go from level 0, let's say, to level 2000 enemies, because from 1000 to 2000 enemies will hit you 1 million. Even if you have a bit like 99% damage reduction, your enemies hits like 1 million and so per hit. It's gonna be really tough and it will not help you at all. Now, you got Eclipse and Nova subsumable ability. Now, if you want to CC enemies, you got Gloom, very awesome on Citrine. You got Terrify to terrify enemies and armor strip them. Now, if you want to cleanse yourself and get back your shield, helps a lot in shield gating, you got Pillage and cleanse yourself from the Slash, the Mania, for example, Reflection, or the Toxin, or for example, Magnetic, and so on. Also, you got Resonator to distract enemies or Ensnare to pull enemies together, so you can like destroy them. Now, when it comes to invisibility, and if you want to turn her into a rogue, you can use Horus, but Horus dies a lot in level cap, especially because he's like a big, chunky Kubru, and they will hit him, one-shot him, and he's dead. Now, you got Shade. It follows you around, makes it a very awesome candidate for that, but I would highly recommend using Shade, and you use Roar in here, if you're going in team. For example, if you're going with team and someone has, for example, something to boost you up, and you can do amazing with Roar and killing enemies with your abilities as well, because if you use your weapons with Shade, you break the invisibility and you're pretty much dead, because Citrine is very squishy Warframe. And my favorite invisibility Helminth ability is Quiver, and you already know by now, and I see a lot of Thanos getting triggered when I use Quiver. Why not? Because, listen, Warframe content for me is this, making builds and stuff. So today I will give you Quiver Citrine, tomorrow I'll give you Roar Citrine, after tomorrow I'll give you, for example, Eclipse Citrine. So what? Don't get triggered, my friend, and enjoy and have fun. That's all important. And I'm sure there is a lot of content creators out there deliver different builds with different Helminth abilities, so you can check them out. Now, next thing I'm gonna talk about is you can use Nourish or Tempest Barrage for viral and armor stripping enemies, and that's pretty much it. This is different options. I've tried all of them. They're really awesome, but today's video is for Quiver. Now, about the DVS, if you don't like my method on proccing viral and armor stripping in this video, you can check this sheet right here. It can help you move around my methods. The Archon shards, I'll be running 2 Violet Archon shards. Health pickups gives 20% energy. Energy pickups gives 20% health. You want to run them Tau Forge if you're maining Citrine, of course. Now, 2 Emerald Archon shards to push the stacks of Corrosive from 10 to 14, so I armor strip enemies with my weapons. For example, Sedu is modded for Corrosive, Dual Toxic is modded for Corrosive, and so on and so on and so on. Now, the other Archon shard, I'm gonna be running Amber Archon shard for 37.5 casting speed. If you're running Equilibrium, I highly recommend you replace these two with casting speed, because her casting speed is a nightmare, and shield gating, like, it will be tough, okay? Because enemies have high fire rate, and if you have no CC or slowing enemies down, the fire rate gets tough, so I highly recommend running more casting speed in here. But for me, the way it is, it's awesome. And now for the build, Brief Respite. The energy you spent on your abilities will be converted to shield. Remember shield gating, so every time your shield depletes, screen shakes, use an ability, you gain back your shield. And you'll be spamming the first ability anyway. Private Sure-Footed to resist knockdown. Now, I know a lot of you doesn't have it, so I highly recommend DE to put the Prime Sure-Footed on Barukitir, so everyone can get access to that. Now, Prime Sure-Footed is not a must in here, since you're gonna be invisible with Quiver, so I'm gonna give you different options. First thing first, let's talk about knockdowns. Now, you wanna run normal Sure-Footed if you don't have Handspring, but Handspring for me is the best candidate against Prime Sure-Footed. If you don't want to run anything against resisting knockdown, now you can run Power Drift for ability strength and resist knockdown, or you can run the Cunning Drift for more range, Or you can run the Coaction Drift. Squad benefit 15% more from aura. You benefit an additional 50% from aura, which is contributing more towards the shield gating and returning your shield. Since we're not running a negative efficiency, still her ability costs a lot, like 175, this one 25, and this 25, but it's spammable with 513 energy. It's a bit tougher. Catalyzing shields for the old school shield gating, lowering our shields, getting the 1.3 seconds invulnerable, and then the delay of 1 second. So we can return it really quick. Primed flow for energy max, overextend for range and minus ability strength, augur message for ability duration, and this is the one you want to replace if you want to run equilibrium in here, and you'll be good to go. Or if you want to run any, for example, Helminth ability, augment. Okay, easy. Now, Transfortitude for strength and minus duration, Emerald Tacify for strength, Primed continuity for duration, Rolling Guard. It's a must-have on Citrine. She's very squishy, and you want to have this. Now, become invulnerable for 3 seconds and remove all statue effects for and 7-second cooldown. It will cleanse you from magnetics, from toxin, from slash, from mania reflection, everything. Alright, now, we'll be running Arcane Precision, and it's optional, depends on the weapon you're using. For example, I use Dual Toxicist, so I'm running Arcane Precision. If you're running a shotgun, a melee, close range melee, it depends, you switch it. Or you want more strength, you can run Molt Augment, and you can play around with it, it's okay. Arcane Energize. On energy pickup, 60% chance to replenish 150 energy to self and allies within 15 meters. Arcane Energize is not necessary in this build unless you're not going to spam. You're just going to be using Quiver and only using Fracture Blast if you need the Shield Gate, and that's it. If you're planning on spamming and all, Arcane Energize is a must-have in there. Now, remember, you can use Shade or Huras. I don't like Horus because he dies, and I don't like Shade because I cannot use my weapons. At that level cap, using your weapons and you're not invisible, Shade will die, you will die, and or you'll be running all around, and then it will push you to push Vazarin, and you have to dash on yourself. Now, the reason I do these builds, I want to make sure it's not about me giving you a complicated synergy and me showing off how amazing I'm moving and look at me, guys. No. This is about me delivering a build. Everyone, doesn't matter your skill in Warframe, can just sit down and enjoy themselves with this build. No frustration, baby. And here we are in Simulacrum. All you have to do, go invisible, use the 3rd ability for the crystal to attack those enemies like so, and then use the 4th ability and check this out. And you'll be killing those enemies. Now, I'll be using Shadow for the corrosive, and look at that mess you're creating right there. Now, you can move around using Quiver, or you can just jump and aim at your companion, and then he will follow you with all that invisibility. Simple as that. That's it. That's all what it takes. Now, you can use dual E-Core. You can use any weapon with, for example, condition overload would benefit a lot from this weapon, to be honest. Alright, don't mind me, I'm using Glaive. It doesn't matter what weapon you use. You can use Glaive, Xoris, Falcor, all the builds in the channel. They have tons of builds in the channel, even like Sifan for level cap, like you name it. Okay, check the channel if you're looking for a weapon build. In the end of the video, I would say I would give Citrine a 7 out of 10 for her 2nd ability need a rework, and her passive need a rework as well, and she's a very squishy Warframe. But when it comes to supporting and playing in a squad and priming enemies for condition overload or condition guns, she's really awesome. I will give her an 8 out of 10. Should you have it for mastery? Yes. Should you have it to play with her? Yes. She's very unique and nice to play, and it will give you the feeling of a different style in Warframe. Now, for the tenors that are gonna complain about Quiver, share with us your builds, and we would like to learn from you. Special thanks to everyone in the community that liking, commenting, subbing, joining our Discord in the description. Always remember in Warframe to have fun. That's what games is about. Special thanks to Special VIP, Rekaka, Illusionor, Free, and Irish. Hall of Donations, Free Hate, Kali, Rekel, Free, Victor, Mr. V, Mikawesa, Milan, Ilinote, and Noobmaster. Big love to you all. Let me know in the comments below what you want to see next, and see you next time.